On the occasion of International Breastfeeding Week, Breastfeeding and Milk Donation Awareness Session was jointly organized by Gunasheela Fertility Center and Rotary Club of Bangalore Junction. Human Milk Bank Chairman and Rotarian Dr. Srinath Manikanti and other dignitaries launched a booklet to create awareness about the importance of mother's milk.
And we all know that August 1 to 7 is being celebrated across the world as the World Breastfeeding Week. That is to enlighten the importance of breastfeeding, its benefits, okay, which are unmatched. Okay? So there is no better gift to a baby than mother's own milk. And all the bodies, including WHO, UNICEF, recommend exclusive breastfeeding for all the babies for up to 6 months, and continue to breastfeed along with the complementary feeds up to 2 years and beyond for the maximum benefit. To tell more about the breastfeeding benefits and the human milk banking, my colleagues Dr. Vishwanath Kamathi and Dr. Latish will talk in their will cover in their talks. I'm going to briefly set a context for this meeting and talk briefly about what we have done so far at Aadhya Public Human Milk Bank. India contributes to 27% of neonatal mortality in the world, which we are not really very proud of. And major cause of death in newborns in India is prematurity and its complications. And breastfeeding and mother's milk goes a long way in reducing this mortality and bridging the gap.
Let us go to some facts. The facts are nearly 2 out of 3 babies are not exclusively breastfed in the first 6 months of life, a rate that has not changed in the last 20 years. Breastfeeding is the only wholesome nutrition, and yet undernutrition is attributed to 2.7 million deaths worldwide annually. In 2020, globally, 149 million children were estimated to be stunted, 45 million wasted, and 39 million obese or overweight. This would not happen if we educate mothers to effectively breastfeed for a minimum of 6 months and continue breastfeeding for as long as possible.
She is one of the relative of that zoo authority. She can let me try something because nothing is working. So she came forward and she just gave birth to her baby. Her baby was few weeks old, and she came in front of that chimpanzee's cage and started feeding, caring, putting the baby to sleep. And within 1 hour, that chimpanzee learned what she need to do next, and she started feeding, and that baby grew up to a beautiful, handsome, Timbu. The moral of the story is, don't you think if those animals need to be taught, don't you think ourselves also need to teach? But we expect that everything is normal, breastfeeding should come naturally to every mother, but that doesn't happen always.
Based on the weight, when you see any baby with weight wise less than 2.5 kg is low birth weight, from 2.5 to 1.5, very low birth weight from 1.5 to 1 kg, and extreme low birth weight or less than 1 kg. So preterms usually fall under these categories because they are born very early, and most of the times whatever the human milk bank is very much useful for extreme preterms. That's where my inputs are going to be given now today. See, when you see when in mother's food, the temperature, oxygenation, nutrition is everything is taken care with mother's placental circulation, and as well also amniotic fluid to maintain the temperature and prevent the infections and everything. But when they are out very early, so we need to, very importantly, these 3 components need to be taken care, like temperature, we must preterms under warmers or incubators. Oxygenation, okay, right from simple giving oxygen to ventilators or LFNC, HFNC, or in CPAP, continuous positive airway pressure. We make sure that oxygenation is good enough for the baby.
All the experts, and human milk donation is one of the greatest initiatives where we have been able to save preterm babies. And I know Gunasheela has been a pioneer in working to really struggle and save these preterm babies since a long time before we had NICUs in Bangalore. And I know the struggle that we have all gone through. And today this initiative is one more feather in our hospital's cap. And I really thank Dr. Devika and Dr. Rajshekhar for taking up this important task of helping our premature babies. Then I have an experience of pumping because for my first child, I did not get maternity leave, so I had only 3 months of maternity leave, so I pumped for that for some time. So I knew this concept of pumping and things like that, right? And actually, touch wood, the first time breastfeeding also happened quite naturally. It was a very pleasant experience for me. So I thought this was something good because anyways I was going to sit at home for 45 days and I was just going to be thinking about what I did wrong, right? So at least this was one distraction for me, saying, okay, I can come, concentrate on this. It's like a very small distraction, but I wanted to try it out. And I delivered my baby on, I think April 2nd, March 2nd. And for 7 days, I was continuously trying all over the place, any number on the internet, I was trying to get in contact with any of the milk banks. I have pumped and dumped for all the 7 days. So I have, I think, got in touch with some 50 different people, but no leads anywhere. I've got in touch with all the other milk banks that are there in Bangalore, and I did not get any leads. Surprisingly, at that point of time, I think this was in the first week of March, that time I could not find any contact of the Gunasheela hospital into there. But somehow through Insta, in fact, I connected to Dr. Payal, and I should be really thankful to her because for 7 days I was pumping and dumping. So people at my house were also worried, like, oh, is she crazy? What is she doing? No, they wanted me to stop.
In spite of all this, I have not given one drop of formula for my first child. I have fed her for 1.5 years. I wanted to do till 2 years, but she voluntarily stopped it, and because I was also in postgrad, I didn't want to strain myself too much. So I have not fed one drop also for my first child. I have stopped feeding, I have switched off milk production of one breast and given on one. That is also possible. There are ways for that also. This is not the end, is what I am trying to say. It is possible. I am the live example for that.
Hi, I am Dr. Srinath Panikanti. I am Director of Aadhya Public Human Milk Bank and Senior Consultant Neonatology at Kaveri Hospital, Bangalore. At Aadhya Public Human Milk Bank, so today we are commemorating World Breastfeeding Week by engaging in activities like poster presentation, inviting donor mothers and recipient mothers to share their knowledge, and inviting guests to share their knowledge about breastfeeding. Aadhya so far has helped more than 120 preterm babies, and we have more than 33 donors come forward and donated more than 110,000 ml, of which has been supplied to various NICUs in Bangalore, out of which 16,700 ml has been supplied free of cost to sick babies in Indira Gandhi Children's Hospital. So please come forward and donate excess milk to Aadhya Public Human Milk Bank, and in turn we will provide the milk to vulnerable premature babies across any NICU in Bangalore. So contact Aadhya Public Human Milk Bank